See that big gap where the arrow is pointing? It represents 16% of the entire world's supply of electricity. This exact same gap happened twice before in the history of energy, and both times it sent a handful of companies soaring over 1,000%. Of course, these are exceptional events, and not every company went up 1,000%. As you'll see, some went up 500%, some went up 600%, some didn't go up at all. Point is, if you had the foresight to position yourself correctly, you could have seen life-altering gains. In fact, the last time it happened, folks who saw the signs and got in early had the chance to turn $1,000 into $1 million with a single trade. Paladin Energy went from 1 cent to $10. That's good enough to turn $1,000 into $1 million. You see, if you take 16% of the world's electricity off the grid, the entire global economy would collapse. Think about it. The world's financial system, including banks, would shut down. Transportation around the world would come to a standstill. The internet, as well as our entire mobile communication network, would go dark. Hospitals, businesses, schools, not to mention governments, would be rendered helpless. Supply lines carrying food, water, and medical supplies around the world would be blocked. Bottom line, there would be total chaos. As panic sets in, the world will throw trillions of dollars at research and resources to fix this crisis. That's where people get rich, in the frenzy. Again, this has happened twice before. It's like a massive pendulum swinging. It swings up, you get in and make a fortune. It swings back, you cash out and haul your winnings to the bank. And make no mistake, the pendulum is starting to swing. Already, Saudi Arabia, the country with more oil and energy than anyone on the planet, is investing $80 billion in this one type of electricity. In fact, nearly every nation on the planet, including the United States, India, Brazil, and Russia, is rushing to expand their use of this type of electricity. China is so worried, they're planning on boosting their use of this electricity tenfold, an incredible 1,000%. Like I said, this exact same situation has happened twice before in the history of energy, and as the chart shows, it's happening right now. To help you take advantage of this situation, I've prepared this special investigation to show you what's at stake and what the potential is for making money on this crisis. Please understand, this is a special situation, one that comes up very rarely. Yet when it does, it creates a whirlwind of activity, panic, and profits for the right people. Now, there's no guarantee that companies will explode on the same level as before, but there's also no denying that this situation holds a unique opportunity that comes along at most every decade or so. And listen, no one is talking about this story right now. It's completely off the radar. In other words, this is pure ground floor opportunity. The only reason I know about it is because I've been an insider in the world energy scene for the last 35 years. In fact, I'm in direct contact with the key players, government officials, policymakers, energy companies, and insiders that will drive this situation into a staggering profit opportunity. Let me explain. My name is Dr. Kent Morris. If my name sounds familiar, maybe it's because you've seen my analysis in Money Morning or the Money Map Report. Or perhaps you've seen me breaking down energy policy on CNN, BBC, ABC, Bloomberg TV, Fox Business Network, or other major media outlets. I'm a regular guest and have appeared over 1,400 times as a featured commentator. I'm also an advisor to 27 world governments. In fact, the U.S., Russia, China, Iraq, Australia, and Kazakhstan are just a few of the nations that turn to me for advice on global energy dynamics. In addition, I've advised every major agency of the federal government on energy matters, not to mention numerous U.S. states and governors. Plus, just about every major energy company on the planet. In fact, I'm a consultant to 6 of the world's top 10 oil producers, and I'm currently helping 7 global oil companies restructure their businesses. Bottom line, I know the most important people in the industry, the world's biggest buyers and sellers of energy, and the policymakers who make the rules. Now, I don't tell you this to brag. I tell you to make sure you'll give what I'm about to say serious consideration. Right now, a severe energy crisis is looming. If it's not resolved, it's going to decimate the global economy. Remember the chaos on 9/11? Financial markets closed, transportation ground to a halt, business shut down, there was panic in the streets. Take that and multiply it by 1,000, and that's what we're looking at. Like I said, this has happened twice before in the history of energy. Both times it created a slew of new millionaires. In fact, the last time this happened, folks who got in early and followed the right signs had a chance to turn $1,000 into $1 million. And that's on just one trade. The evidence makes the case. This crisis is happening again for the third time. And while it's not 100%, there's no denying this opportunity could change your life. I've been tracking this situation for 8 years, waiting for the right moment to get in. And I can tell you without a doubt, the pendulum is starting to swing and the upside is going to be huge. In just a moment, I'm going to show you a handful of specific, simple ways to play this for massive potential gains. But first, let's break down the facts so you can see for yourself why this is as close to a sure bet as you can get. The thing that makes this opportunity so lucrative is it involves a sector of the energy market that no one's paying attention to. You see, most of the headlines are focused on oil, or natural gas, or coal. But there's one thing out there no one is looking at. I'm talking about electricity. Now, most people don't give electricity a second thought. You flip a switch, the lights go on, all good, right? But listen, I advise the leaders of 27 countries, and I can tell you right now every single one of them is focused on electricity. In fact, it keeps them up at night. That's because one of the most strategic issues facing any country is securing the electricity resources needed to power its economy, feed and house its people, and protect its borders. Think about it. The world runs on electricity. Our lights, our computers, our mobile phones, our TVs, our air conditioning, turn off the electricity and you shut down schools, hospitals, businesses, security systems, defense systems, transportation, banking, telecommunications, financial markets, everything. And seriously, even a tiny disruption in the world's electricity supply, less than 1%, has proven catastrophic. Look what happened in South Africa. Torrential rains soaked their coal supply and they had to go to rolling blackouts to preserve electricity. It pulled the plug on the economy. It shut shops, businesses, factories, and the airports. According to Peter Montalto, a London economist, the outages could cut South Africa's GDP by 0.2% per day. That's $768 million per day, $32 million for every hour the lights are off. In fact, when this happened to South Africa in 2008, it cost their economy $50 billion. And get this, the California Alliance for Energy did a study on what potential summer blackouts would cost California businesses. The numbers were staggering. We're talking $21.8 billion in lost productivity, $4.6 billion in lost household income, and 135,000 lost jobs. Devastating. And listen, in these instances, we're only talking about a small percentage of global electricity, a fraction of 1%. Imagine if a full 16% of the entire world's electricity was unplugged indefinitely. There would be utter chaos. The financial losses would be in the trillions. Without question, we'd see major countries shut down. Transportation would grind to a halt. It would shut down the internet, shut down mobile phone networks, shut down hospitals and governments and schools and the financial markets, including your local bank. Shut down supply chains that carry food and essential goods and services to people around the world. Bottom line, the cost of a 16% electricity void would result in the massive loss of human lives and trillions of dollars. And make no mistake, we are on the brink of a crisis. I showed you the chart. Here it is again. You see that arrow?